Not even sure where we are right now. This is fascinating.
It's con man.
Welcome back to the Good Marshals Universal Podcast. Dan Bernardo, Keith Mosier, Bo Davis. Today I'd like to ask the question, why are there so many crooks in martial arts? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't been in the martial arts long enough. But if you've been in the martial arts for at least a few years, you probably are familiar with this fact. So, what do you think?
There is a certain amount of culturally, martial arts is a mystical thing to most people.
Yeah.
And because it's a mystical thing to most people, that opens up a perfect avenue for any shyster.
Yeah, a con man that can sell a TV to a blind guy, they can do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that in right there, there's that. The motivating factors are fame and fortune, always. What was his name? Gagarin, Yuri, whatever. The guy was moving phone book pages with his mind and all that stuff.
Right. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long. You were.
I've seen something like
You were
that
probably
on
not
YouTube.
born yet.
I've seen some YouTube stuff.
And that's not necessarily a martial art, but it connects to them, to martial arts. Any no touch stuff is an offshoot of that kind of thing, and that plays in perfectly to people who believe that there's a mystical, magical quality. If you believe Kamehameha is real, then some guy who performs a no-touch technique in front of you, well, he's just, oh my God, and you will give him all the money you can. So it kind of lends itself to crooks. In that regard, because nothing has to be proven.
Let me ask a clarifying question. Is there a difference between a con man and a crook?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, no.
Con man's a very specific type of crook.
I would say
So all con men are crooks, but not all crooks are con men?
I would say that's the case.
Yeah.
And so
You can murder someone and not lie about it.
or you could just plan on a methodology of taking somebody's money, but you're not conning them into anything. You're not requiring them to believe you. I mean, do you know what con man is short for?
No.
Short for confidence man.
Ooh.
A con man does something to gain your confidence. And then once you're in, then he can do whatever he wants to do.
I feel like that's what every martial arts dude is like
crook
a con
doesn't
man.
necessarily need your confidence, doesn't need you to believe him. A guy can go out and bust a window in a car and take your radio. That's not a con man, right?
Crook is just a crooked dude.
Crook is just a crooked dude. Crooked dudes exist in all aspects of life, and there are crooked martial artists. There are people who pad the bills, charge for things that there's no sense you need to be charging for. I paid my fees. What do you mean I have to pay a door charge? I paid my fee. Well, no, we have a door charge too. Okay, there's a crook. That's a crook.
Yeah. Or like when you have to sign a contract. I had a student go somewhere. He had to sign into this whole thing.
I can't say that that's a con man or a.
It's a retention tactic.
Contracts can get. We can get into an incredibly complicated semantic argument. So what I'm saying is, what you're specifically referring to is not contracts. What you're specifically referring to is long-term contracts.
Oh shit.
Okay, that is a specific thing. Now, when you get into long-term contracts, I don't think there's anything crooked about a long-term contract. What's crooked is when somebody uses the long-term contract way that they did not originally tell you. There are hidden this and there are hidden that. That is where things start to get crooked. There's crooked ways of getting people to sign contracts.
Yeah.
But if they go, this is the contract, this is what's required to come and train here, you can decide to sign it or not. And it's freely up to you.
I think
Read
there's
this,
a level.
Initial here, initial here, initial here, sign your name.
Yeah.
You bought it.
There's still a level of like, I definitely don't think these people are just doing that for like, this is transparent, look at this. I think they know a lot of dumbasses are coming in that door and going to sign that without reading nothing.
If the closest,
I don't think so.
I don't think, yeah, I mean, I agree with Dan. I don't think so.
Okay.
I do think that a lot of the schools, a lot of businesses that use contracts for a monthly service payment they are somewhat counting on that. You will only show up twice this month, but you still got to pay. They are somewhat counting on you actually decided to quit, but it took you 3 months to tell them, but they collected the pay directly from your bank account during that period of time. They are somewhat banking on that, but they're banking on it in order to set for themselves a financial base to work from.
Yeah.
They know, they can take a look at the contracts and they know this is how much funds we have. It's, to me, it is uncomfortable.
It is.
But I can't say it's a bad thing, and I will not say it is a crooked thing.
I would agree with that. I won't say it's a crooked thing.
There's a different thing.
So
it's got a high potential for abuse.
Let me ask you a question, Bo, right? Do you pay for your cell phone? Do you pay for internet? Do you pay?
I do pay for internet
for rent
sometimes. I pay
have you
for
signed
here.
Have you ever signed a lease? Have you ever signed
a lease? No.
Okay, so all of these things you have not experienced yet. Okay?
Yeah.
But these are all the same thing. So
yeah, I know that. I've signed more paperwork recently than I'd like to. I'll say that.
If you go and
pay taxes.
If you go and you want to live in an apartment for a year, the amount of money to live in this thing for a year is this much. We're going to break it up into 12 payments so that you pay only a portion of it each month.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you're agreeing to is to be able to live in this space for 12 months. You're agreeing to this large sum of money.
Yeah.
And you're agreeing to pay a portion of it each month. So when you go into a martial arts school and you say, I want to do martial arts, they'll say, well, okay, we have a year program. You can sign to do this year program. The year program is this much. You can pay a portion of it each month. That's what you're doing when you're signing a long-term contract.
Okay.
You're not paying month to month. You are purchasing a yearly subscription to this martial arts school, and you are paying for it monthly.
Yes, but this is my only thing. That ain't a house.
It can be viewed.
Doesn't matter.
It can be viewed.
It's the same as freaking. It's the same as your cell phone. It's the same as your internet. I pay, right? I pay a certain amount per month to use the internet. Does it matter how much I use? No. You are paying for a service. The service is a year-long service. You can pay the whole thing up front.
Yes.
You got to remember, you got to look at it from, there's two sides. You're looking at it from the customer's side. Okay, yes.
I'm looking at it from both sides.
Well, no, think about it.
You're
My
not.
prices reflect, I promise.
No.
You're not.
You're looking at, okay, I want to rent this house. Oh, this is what my monthly is going to be. Great. What the landlord is saying is, you've signed a year contract. I'm expecting this, but I'm licensing you the ability to pay it in little teeny pieces. I could say, you want a year contract, that'll be $6,000.
Yeah.
Or I can say, if you sign this, I'll let you pay $575 a month.
But because I'm letting you pay 500 and some a month, there's going to be interest. You're going to pay a little bit more each month because they are padding that in case you default. In case you decide, I don't want to live here anymore, but you're in this thing
Yes.
for you, right?
This
they'll
is
be-
a new concept to me. I think what I'm trying to get at is I don't think martial arts should ever be on the same level of I'm locked in for a year to pay for this. If I want to pay for a month and train for a month, I should be able to.
You can.
Because it feels
gotta-
elitist
you
after that
can,
point.
You
but
gotta
listen,
find the right school.
you have decided to agree. This is why it's not crooked, right?
Yes,
So
because people swindle themselves.
When I used to do contracts, okay, we would do a 6-month contract, a year contract, a 2-year contract, and a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was based on how much you wanted to commit to your training.
Yeah, you had tiers to it. I like that.
Can you learn anything in a month? No. So why would
Not
I
much
sell
hard selling.
somebody a month's worth of training?
Because they pay
Does
for it.
does that give me this? Does that give me the same value? Does that give the space the same value? Right. So now, with all this said, is I don't do long-term contracts. People pay by the month. Okay.
Yeah, I was
All
like,
right. But this is the psychology behind it.
yeah,
Right.
no.
If I give somebody, like if I say, listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You cannot learn something in a month. You are not going to come in here and then come twice a week for 4 weeks and leave and be accomplished. It's not going to happen. So I recommend giving it at least 6 months to a year, at least, to see some change. Because you're going to come in here and everything's going to be tough. You're going to suck. You're going to get beat. You're going to lose. It's going to be horrible. It's hard work. After a month of that, you're not going to notice any change.
Yeah.
Right? After 6 months, you're probably going to start seeing some change. You're going to see that you're more balanced. You're going to see that maybe you've lost a little bit of weight. You're a little bit more flexible. You're a little bit stronger. It's going to be a little easier for you to do some of the techniques. You're maybe not getting beat all the time, right? 6 months to a year, that is when you will see change. Give it that much time. So I can tell somebody, without being a crook,
I agree. Yeah, I don't think
Listen.
it's crooked.
I think you should sign up for a 6-month or a year program. It costs this much.
How much work are you putting into that one program for that one person, or are they getting thrown into class and taught during class?
Does it matter?
I mean, if I were a
There's some-
customer, I feel like
Man,
it
if I
matters.
was giving somebody privates for a year, I'm going to charge a whole hell of a lot more money.
Oh, yeah,
It
of
depends
course.
on the contract.
So if I charge somebody $150 a month for class, I'm going to charge them at least double that for privates.
I think where I'm at is because I have a recurring thing, and if you forget about it, that's on you. And I tell them that. that's up front. But if I think you can improve in 6 months, you'll pay me the 6 months if you stick with it. And it's
There's
a good
nothing
way to make
crooked.
money. Yeah.
No. It's not a good way to make money. It is a tactic for getting people to commit to a certain number of months.
So there's a level of retention as well.
There's a level of retention,
Because they're paying for it.
if you pay for something,
Yes.
you are more
likely
likely
to use it.
to use it.
Yeah, this is why I thought about cutting out the daily class.
Or commonly called a mat fee.
Yeah, mat fee.
Yeah.
I do 15 a mat fee.
But there's actually no reason why you should even.
I make more money off that.
You
Make
shouldn't
more
cut.
money off
You
that.
shouldn't cut that out either.
Yeah, well, I like that. You just upcharge for it a little more, maybe.
Some schools will go contract, and will do mat fee, or will do short-term mat fees, which is a contract, but it's I'll give you a month. You're not going to learn much, but here's a month fee. So they're signing a month contract. A mat fee, I think you should always have a mat fee. If nothing other than when somebody said, I'm visiting my cousin. I'm from Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw that you were here.
Mm-hmm.
Come
Yeah.
on in. It's only 15
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Join us.
that's why I think you're getting confused on what is crooked, right? I don't think.
I think it's
And
just
I should
money.
add-
It goes into my mind
Right.
and comes out. Oh, that's
So
crooked.
there's a
that might
certain-
just be the association.
And I
There's a
should
certain
add-
level of psychology there. Like I don't like taking money from people. Sometimes it's an imposter
It's a
syndrome
little
thing.
uncomfortable,
It's-
man. I know I need it, and
it's
I need to do
uncomfortable.
that to make myself make this work.
For
but
me,
I don't like it.
Like in a perfect world, I would barter for everything.
I mean,
Right?
yeah,
Like for me,
Yeah.
right? Like that is how I feel good about exchangement of goods.
I can't even
But-
wrap my head around that.
Well,
Like I can, but
for
like
instance,
in dollar
you know,
amounts.
the wall that your dad built, that was a
yeah.
barter.
That was a barter,
for you to
yes.
come to class.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
But I can't pay the landlord with
Yes, a wall.
bartered things, right? So
Yeah.
like money is just I don't know.
The
So
reason-
as
It's
you
hard.
get older,
it's
it'll
really
get easier.
hard. I mean, because I already had one thing regarding money to a degree, so it's just like, damn, fuck all y'all and y'all money at this point. I don't even
It'll
want
get
that shit.
It'll get easier, I promise.
points. The mat fee is a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they got to sign a waiver, so I
Bar-
know it's a contract.
the-
Yeah.
Money,
No, I mean,
money
they have agreed to pay you for a certain thing.
Yeah.
for this amount of time.
They're just
You've
not asking
agreed-
for receipts.
Right. You've agreed for that fee. Yeah, you can come and join the class for tonight.
Yeah.
You can't walk in tomorrow unless you want to pay another mat fee.
A contract is not a written.
Doesn't have to be written.
Doesn't have to
Oh
be
yeah,
written.
it'd be verbal. Yes.
Verbal, or
You could
handshake.
shake a hand. You could say, "Yes, I agree." So like,
soon as
you
they
don't
hand
have
you
to
this,
give
as
a
soon as they hand
receipt
you the
for it to
money.
be a contract.
And in terms of money, yes, barter would be great. The reason we have money is it becomes very hard to weigh the barter.
Damn, I'm getting a whole business class
It's
right
like-
now. Sorry, y'all. Damn, y'all can learn too, though. It's cool.
I just gave Dan a day's worth of training for one chicken, but I start charging you 2 chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, to get with me, I need 2 chickens from you because I knew what Dan was or whatever. I didn't need 2 chickens from Dan. I needed a chicken. Money kind of said, okay, we don't have to weigh this. How many
Yeah.
eggs?
It
Hey,
evens it out.
Yeah. You got nice extra large eggs. You got these puny little eggs.
Damn.
You got 8, he's got 8, but these are big eggs. So how many more of your puny eggs equal your big eggs?
Yeah. Plus,
Right? That's money fixes that. It
Yeah.
levels the playing field.
plus, it stops you from saying, let's say you're a crook. And
Yeah, I
you
was about to
go,
talk about Crook.
my friend, I'm only going to charge 1 chicken. But this dude, I'm going to charge 5 chickens. That's crooked.
Yeah.
Money evens everything out. It's the same price for me as it is for you.
Yeah.
The confidence men create the mysticism through the confidence. We haven't talked about it much, but we all are aware of it. Setting up a pattern so that the psychology of what's going to happen, the perception of what's coming next, is fixed in the agreeable student's mind, and so then I can go and you fall over. And that causes everybody else to go, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tricks of.
So I've got a super confidence going on with my unknown shill. They don't even know that they're a shill.
Mm-hmm.
And I am generating confidence with the onlookers.
Mm-hmm.
So martial arts lends themselves to that because to most onlookers, it's all mystical, magical anyway. Why do you do this when you should be doing that? Why do you get, oh, look at the things you can do, which is just trained skill. It's just kung fu. Oh, I can jump up and kick and turn around and fall down. Ooh, there must be some magic to a martial art to be able to do that. No, that's just a lot of hard work. Crooks recognize that the confidence potential is there. They don't necessarily have to become a con man. but they can rely on still the population's misinterpretation of what a martial art is.
Yeah.
And then they could do contractual things like, yeah, you know, you really should have done better in your first 6 months. I don't. You're going to need a special class. It's going to cost you a little bit more,
Yeah.
right?
So now we start getting into where martial arts schools or organizations start to become cults.
Yep.
We'll talk about that next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So, have you ever met a martial arts conman or a martial arts crook? Are you one? No, you don't have to tell us.
If you are, don't tell them.
Don't tell us.
Plead the fifth, man.
Cool. Awesome. Comment, like,
Subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Comment.
Comment.
Really comment. Comment. Did I say comment?
comment.
Comment.
Tell us your stories about con men that you knew and crooks that you knew. There are lots of different kinds of crooks in the martial arts world. We only talked about a couple, but we'll talk about more, especially next episode.
We'll stay away from bodily functions next time.
Hopefully. Ciao.